That red rust you are staring at right now, the flaky, bubbling cancer eating through your wheel hubs and your car frame, it is not a death sentence. Someone takes a plain, clear liquid, sprays it directly onto that disgusting orange rot, and in minutes, right in front of your eyes, the red rust starts to bubble and fizz, and then it stops. And what is left is not rust anymore. It is a hard, smooth, jet black shell. No grinder, no sandpaper, no wire wheel, no hours under the car. Just chemistry doing what $300 of labor never could. That liquid costs $1. And the industry that has been charging you $800 to do it wrong has been praying you never find out it exists. You are about to find out. Welcome to the buried blueprint. I am pulling back the curtain on the solutions that trillion-dollar industries have quietly buried because they cannot put a patent on a hardware store shelf. If that matters to you, hit subscribe right now and ring that bell. Every single video we publish is another secret they wish we had kept. Now let us talk about what is really happening under your car. You have rust, real rust, the kind that forms on the frame, the suspension arms, the wheel hubs, the cross members. The kind that does not just look bad, it structurally compromises the metal over time. It flakes, it spreads, it creeps into every pore of the steel. And you have two options the industry wants you to choose from. Option 1, you drive to a body shop or an undercoating center. They put your car on a lift. They spend 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours grinding and wire wheeling the rust off with power tools. Then they spray the whole undercarriage with what they call rubberized undercoating. They charge you anywhere from $600 to over $1,000. You drive home feeling protected. Option 2, you buy a can of rubberized undercoating spray at the auto parts store, you crawl under your car, you spray it yourself, and you spend $20 to do the same thing the shop does. You feel smart. Here's the part the body shops hide from you. Both of those options are wrong. Both of them are making your rust problem worse, and the industry knows it. Physical grinding, even with a professional wire wheel spinning at high speed, does not remove all the rust. It removes the surface flakes, the chunks you can see. But rust is not just on top of the metal. It has already penetrated into the microscopic pores of the steel. There are millions of tiny rust crystals invisible to the eye that the wire wheel simply cannot reach. So, you grind it down, it looks clean and shiny for about 6 months, and then the rust comes back, every single time. Because the source was never eliminated. It was just cosmetically removed. And the rubberized undercoating? That is even worse. When you spray a rubberized coating over red rust, you are not stopping the rust, you are sealing it inside. You are creating a dark, damp, oxygen-starved pocket directly against your metal where the oxidation continues silently, invisibly, for years. By the time the rubber starts peeling and you look underneath, your frame has rotted from the inside out. The shops know this, the chemical companies know this, and they keep selling it to you because there is no repeat business in a solution that actually works. But watch closely what happens next, because this is where the story changes. There is a chemical that has been sitting on hardware store shelves for decades. It is sold as a concrete etching and prep solution. It is used by contractors to prepare concrete surfaces before sealing. It costs about $1 per bottle in most stores, sometimes $2 for a larger container. Buying it has nothing to do with cars. The label says nothing about rust. It is labeled for concrete, and that is exactly why you have never heard of it being used for this purpose. Because nobody in the auto industry wants you to walk into Home Depot and spend $1 to solve the problem, they charge you $800 to fail at solving. Before I give you the exact name of this chemical and show you precisely how to use it, I need to tell you something important. This rust conversion hack is just one entry in a much longer list of buried solutions. The complete buried blueprint vault in the description below this video contains dozens of classified home survival and DIY guides that cover everything from mold elimination to wood rot reversal to energy bill reduction using solutions that cost almost nothing. Go check that link, bookmark it, share it, because the information in there is the kind of thing that disappears. But stay right here, because exactly how you apply this chemical changes everything. The chemical is phosphoric acid. That is it, phosphoric acid. You will find it at Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, or any local hardware store in the concrete prep section. It is sold under names like Concrete Etch and Prep, Concrete Cleaner and Etcher, or sometimes just Phosphoric Acid Cleaner. You want a solution that lists phosphoric acid as the active ingredient. It is the same acid, diluted, that gives cola its tangy bite. It is not exotic, it is not hard to find, it is not dangerous if you handle it with basic safety equipment. And it does something that no grinder, no sandpaper, and no rubberized undercoating can ever do. Here is the science, and pay attention, because this part is the reason everything else makes sense. Rust is chemically known as iron oxide. When iron is exposed to moisture and oxygen over time, those two elements bond with the iron molecules in your metal and create iron oxide, that red, flaky, crumbling compound you are staring at on your frame. Iron oxide is unstable. It expands as it forms. It pushes outward. It flakes off. And every flake that falls reveals more raw iron underneath, which then begins to rust again. This is why rust spreads. It is a self-replicating reaction at the molecular level. Now, phosphoric acid is highly reactive specifically with iron oxide. When phosphoric acid contacts red rust, it does not dissolve it and carry it away like a cleaner. It chemically reacts with it and converts it. The phosphoric acid bonds with the iron oxide molecules and transforms them into a completely different compound called ferric phosphate. Ferric phosphate is black. It is inert. It is hard. It does not oxidize. It does not spread. It does not trap moisture. It bonds directly to the remaining steel underneath and acts as a primer layer. The rust is not removed. It is converted. It is neutralized at the molecular level and turned into its own black armor. The rust literally becomes the solution. That is why it turns black. That is the conversion you are watching happen in real time. And once it is converted, the oxidation process stops permanently because the iron oxide no longer exists to feed it. The undercoating industry cannot sell you that explanation, because the explanation ends with you going to a hardware store and spending $1. Here is exactly how you do this. Step 1. You do not need to sand down to bare metal. Let me repeat that because it is the core of everything. You do not need to sand to bare metal. All you need to do is take a basic wire brush, the kind that costs $2, and knock off only the loose, chunky, flaking material, the big pieces that are barely hanging on. You are not trying to clean the metal. You are not trying to make it shiny. You are just removing the loose debris so the liquid can make direct contact with the actual rust surface. That is it. 5 minutes of light brushing. Step 2. Pour your phosphoric acid concrete etcher solution into a simple spray bottle. You can get a spray bottle at any dollar store. You do not need special equipment. Step 3. Before you do anything else, put on safety glasses and a basic respirator mask. The acid is diluted, but getting it in your eyes is not something you want to experience, and breathing the mist in an enclosed space is unnecessary risk. This is non-negotiable. 10 seconds of preparation. Step 4. Spray the phosphoric acid solution directly and generously onto every rusted surface. Saturate it. Get into the corners, the crevices, the pitted areas. The more contact the acid has with the rust surface, the more complete the conversion will be. Do not be conservative. Soak it. Step 5. Leave it alone for 24 hours. Do not wipe it. Do not rinse it. Do not touch it. Let the chemistry work. Come back the next day. What was red and flaky is now black, smooth, and hard. The conversion is complete. You have just created a layer of ferric phosphate that is chemically bonded to your frame. It is not paint. It is not a coating. It is a molecular transformation of the rust itself into a stable, protective compound. One optional additional step. Once the conversion is complete and the surface has fully cured and dried, you can apply a top coat of oil-based paint or a rust-inhibiting primer over the black ferric phosphate layer if you want additional long-term protection. The ferric phosphate layer provides excellent adhesion for paint because it has already prepared the surface at a chemical level. But even without a top coat, the conversion alone stops the oxidation process. Do not buy any product labeled as a rust converter that is sold specifically in the automotive section of a store. Those products use the same phosphoric acid chemistry, but mark them up by 300% and add filler ingredients that do nothing. Go to the concrete prep section, spend $1, get the same result. Now let us be very clear about what just happened here. A body shop would have charged you $800 minimum to put your car on a lift, run power tools for 3 hours, and spray rubber over rust that will continue eating your frame in secret. You just spent $1, a spray bottle from the dollar store, 20 minutes of your time, and 24 hours of patience. The red rust is gone. It is now black ferric phosphate. It is inert. It will not spread. It will not return. The frame is stabilized. The collision and undercoating industry generates $10 billion a year from American car owners. And a significant portion of that revenue comes from repeat customers who keep coming back every few years because the rubberized undercoating keeps failing, the rust keeps coming back, and they never understand why. Now you understand why. Because they were never solving the problem. They were managing it. There is a massive financial difference between a one-time solution and a recurring problem that keeps generating invoices. They pray you do not share this video, so share it, right now. Send it to every person you know who owns a car with rust on the frame. Send it to the person who just got quoted $800 at a shop. Send it to the person who just bought a can of rubberized spray and thinks they fixed something. Subscribe to this channel if you are done being the person who pays full price for a half solution. Every video we make here is another page from the playbook that the industry buries. The next blueprint opens soon, and what's inside is even heavier.